This is what I have to deal with, folks.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece, episode 15, part 2 of our interview with the great one himself, Mr. Phil Hellmuth Jr., as well as more discussions on how the Poker After Dark went this week. Stay tuned, episode 2, here on the Mouthpiece. Those are the really hands to talk about tonight, Phil. There was really, now this one I was a little upset for Cantu doing. So we knew Cantu had just doubled and he had 11,000, right? So Cantu was playing pretty good today, and he goes and it went raise, and Cantu big time re-raise it, like 15x'd it with kings. Like I said, that's the thing with Cantu is he'll do it with kings, and he's unconventional. He'll also do it with nothing. And the guy with ace, king of spades put them all in. Now he put in the guy Jeff who literally had not lost a pot all day or yesterday. Put in 11,000 at 50 and 100. So that's like 110 big blinds with ace king pre. That's just ridiculous. And so Cantu's got kings, the guy's got ace king. Cantu's 3-1 favorite, and the guy goes once or twice. And I don't know what Cantu was thinking. It's like, of course you run it. The bigger favorite you are, the more times you want to run it. And so 3-1 favorite.
Cantu thinks the opposite of that.
He's wrong. You know that. You know that. And
well, Mike, you have to understand. Mm-hmm. Any mathematician will tell you that it doesn't matter if you're a favorite or an underdog. Mm-hmm. Choosing to run it twice is exactly the same thing. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But for some reason, the public doesn't get it, and a lot of poker players don't get it. It's like they don't understand basic math.
Right.
So
it's the same thing, except for like the hand that I won. The only hand I played terrible today that I hit the jack on the river to make jacks and tens is when he goes once or twice. I said for a second, I'm so used to running twice. I said twice. I said no, never mind, once. I go, I can't win this twice. In other words, the odds of me hitting a 10 or a jack twice it's just not going to happen. So you run it once. But when you're 3-1,
you made a lucky decision there to run it once. So you can tell your viewers another theory. But it was just luck,
if you're
most
playing,
people want to run it twice when they're an underdog.
If you're playing to just try and somehow get your money back, then you run it twice. If you're playing to win the pot, you run it once when you're in bad shape like that. But if Cantu runs it twice, he's 3-1 on the first one, and he's got to be like over 80% probably to chop at worst. But why put yourself in a spot as 3-1 favorite to get unlucky for when you're playing short money today?
Mike, that's just a mathematical thing. Did Cantu quit after that?
Yeah, yes, he did. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe he had it in his mind. I can tell you this much: his backer did not cut him off.
No, I know that.
So, in case you think that was the case.
No.
No, I know, but you said earlier you felt like he had been cut off or whatever.
No. I said he was playing short today. You could see that he didn't have, because his backer only had a certain amount on PayPal. He actually sent me, because I loaned him the 10. He sent it to me on PayPal. He still owes me $3,500 on PayPal. He says he's going to send whenever, but I'm not worried about that. But he was short today, and when he was short today and he wanted to keep playing, I just think that the more the bigger favorite you are, the more you want to run it, because you're going to probably scoop it at 3-1.
I know, Mike, but now you're so there's you and there's the mathematicians. Mm-hmm. So people at home who are listening. Mm-hmm. You say if you're a huge favorite, you want to run it a ton of times, and some people think the opposite. Right. But it's still, the math is exactly the math. So, I don't subscribe to that, to your theory. I think you're wrong. Personally, I like to run it twice because I like to lower variance. But it has nothing to do with whether I'm a huge favorite or a huge underdog. You know?
Well,
and sometimes I've gotten used to running it once. I like running it once now, honestly.
Well, let's just say let's say you get it all in.
We run it once in my big game up here.
Right.
So I've gotten used to it.
But let's just say I get it all in against somebody, and it's set over set, and he has a bigger set than me. I'm running it once. I mean, I can't win it twice. I've got to hope maybe I'll hit the 1 outer, you know? Huh.
Well, there's some logic. Well, I don't know. I don't want to go into it.
No,
I have to think about
it depends. If you want to, you know, yes.
I understand how you think you can only hit the 1 outer once.
Right.
Right. And so if I understand how you feel that's the case. There's a lot of people that would say that the next 4 cards are completely independent of one another. And yes, you can only hit it once, but maybe you would hit it on the 4th time. And you're saying, well, I need to hit it on the 1st time. And if I do it more than once, I can't hit it the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th time.
Well, the thing is when you put the money in, you don't put the money in to try and hopefully get it back. You want to try and win the pot. And I just like, if you're 3-1 favorite, you're almost never
I would like
getting
to
scooped.
see you, Mike. How much were you losing when you had the 10 jack against the Kings?
I was down about after the hand. I was 5 loser, so I won 73. So I was 12 loser.
So you were 12,000. I would like to see what would happen if you were up 15,000 and you had the 10 jack.
You know, the thing is I always know
run it twice. I need to protect my.
the least amount of outs you have, you want to run. And so when I originally said twice, what's his name? Justin looked at me like, "Really, Mike?" And I said, "No, never mind. Run it once," because I know what he meant by that. Like, you're almost never going to win it twice. Now, if you want to just put it in and run it twice to maybe get lucky and chop out, but
so then your theory is to run it once all the time, by what you're saying right now.
No, my theory is the least amount of outs you have, the least you want to run it. The more outs you have, the bigger your hand is, the more times you want to run it. That's all. That's what most people think, but you think different. That's fine. I respect your opinion. You know.
Yeah, I'm not sure most people think that.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not saying that. You're still 3-1 favorite. Okay, that's a fact. Okay.
Well, that's not what I'm saying, Mike.
I'm
saying that the decision to run a hand multiple times,
mm-hmm.
and Brandon Cantor's opinion, when he's a big favorite, he only wants to run it once. He doesn't want to give just the guy a chance to win it the second time. In your opinion, you want to only run it once when you're a big underdog. You guys are polar opposites on this.
We should.
So that much I would say.
Let's come up with a Twitter poll together right now that we could.
My buddy Mike Matisow thinks.
You could put it out, and I can retweet it. You could put the poll out. That's fine.
He thinks that it favors him.
Not me, but anybody.
To run it.
The favors a player to run it more times when you're a bigger favorite. Like, if the bigger the favorite you are, the more you want to run it. The least of a favorite you are, the least you want to run it. Do you agree or disagree? Does that sound right, or do you want to put like other options?
No, put it. I think he's crazy. And then, do you agree with Mike? This is going to go viral. Oh my God! Oh my God!
Yeah, this will be good.
I just can't wait to see the response on this one, Mikey.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, but it's going to go viral, and
okay.
you went with your beliefs. Mm-hmm. I respect it. Wow, and I've had a couple drinks tonight, so maybe I'm wrong. All right, I'll write it up.
That's funny. Yeah, just say when you're 3-1.
Now, I'm not going to change it. You can't. You see, the nice thing about this is all this is recorded.
Right.
So if you want to back off and say, Phil, you're right.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to back off. I'm just saying. Mike feels the bigger favorite you are, the more you want to run it. The smaller favorite you are, the less you want to run it. What is your thoughts on it, or whatever? You know.
No. You said it favors the person to run it more times, and it doesn't.
When you're a
favor
bigger
the person.
favorite, yes. The bigger the favorite you are,
Yeah.
the more you want to run it. Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
And
you
and
feel
that's going to be there's going to be some very, very, the math guys are going to tear you apart, but I think it's going to be cute. So you deserve to be torn apart because
okay.
You'll learn something, I think.
The Mouthpiece.
If you'd like to take part in our phone call segment, you can give us a call at 702-329-0480. And if you're a snowflake or a pussy and you don't want to talk to me, you can email me at mouthpiecepodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow me at the Mouth Matiso on Twitter for times that our call-in segment will be live. Okay, it's our phone call time. Let's light up the lines and hear what our fans have to say. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
You're absolutely kidding me. Mike, is this you, sir?
Yeah, who's this?
My name's Scott Marshall. I'm from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, sir.
Oh man, good place to be. I used to go up there a lot until they kicked me out of Canada. And now I can't.
I can't believe I'm talking to you, sir. This is a great moment for me. I read your book. I've been a big fan for a long time, Mike. I'm actually, I can't believe you answered, and I'm actually shaking right now.
Oh, don't do that, man. How's it going up in Niagara Falls? Playing poker down there?
Mike, I actually just called. I just made the final table of the Hot 440 on PokerStars. My name's Never Doubt.
Okay.
And I'm sitting at the final table of the Hot 440 with 877,000 chips.
What is first place?
There were 1,200. There was 1,268 guys. First place is 700 US, which would just be $7,000 to me right now.
Oh man, that's great, man. I've been there, man. Where I remember the days I used to throw 7,000 around like they were dollars. Now 7,000's like a zillion to me, or 700 is a zillion to me. So yeah, I understand. So well, you can't play. Are you on break right now or what?
No, I'm on the button. Every break is at 5 to the hour, so break is in about 10 minutes.
Oh well, don't.
I'm just trying to
stay focused, man.
Mike,
don't talk to me.
I couldn't be more focused. I just put you on mute and screamed in the house to my wife that I was talking to you.
Ah, well, win this motherfucker, man.
I just want to say one more thing. I'm sure you've got other calls coming in. Yep. I just want to say one more thing with no joke and no disrespect. One of my bucket lists is to buy you a beer.
You got it, my man. Hopefully,
in the fall and come to the tournament with the WPT or anything.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately I can't go into Canada. I'm what they call criminally inadmissible because of when I got set up. When I got set up in 2004, I went there the next 8 years and nobody said a word to me. And then one year, I think it was 2011. They told me I'm not allowed in their country because I'm like,
really?
That's how strong they are in Canada to get into their country. But in our country, all you have to do is walk across a fake border, and in you come. So
yeah, fair enough. Unfortunately, when I was 18, I got in a car with the wrong group of guys, and I have not been allowed over to the States since 9/11.
Oh, yeah. See, that sucks, you know.
I wouldn't give a shit if Brad Pitt or fucking Donald Trump walked by me right now. If Mike Matisow was on that corner, I'm walking the street. My email's Matisow112@gmail. A lot of the shit I do and use passwords is related to your name.
Oh, man. Don't tell people that. They'll be trying now they're going to be trying to hack your passwords.
Mike, there's still 8 left. I'm in middle position. I'm holding ace-10 suited. I'm raising to 120,000.
Okay.
The blinds are 20 and 40. The button has 1.5 million. He called. Small blind folds. Big blind only has to call 80,000. He folds. The flop's 2-5-7, 1 diamond. I completely missed. Should I fire like 33%? The pot's 340. We're holding 655.
Yeah, I bet about 130.
Okay, so I put in 114.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's got 1.4 million. He can dummy me and just come over the top. And
if he does, he's got you beat. He's not going to call you unless he has you beat here. He's not going to.
He re-raised. He raised.
Yeah, I figured he might.
I'm just going to fold. I'm going to fold and keep my $500,000.
Yeah, I almost told you to just check fold, but you know what? I thought you have to buy a little bit. That's fine.
fair enough. I threw in a little bit. I still have $500,000.
All right. Focus, and win this. I'm going to let you go.
I will.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks for calling. All right.
Thank you so much for your time.
You got it.
Thank you. Bye now.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
How's it going, Mike?
Good. Who's this?
John.
Oh, John, my buddy.
Yes, sir.
John,
how you doing, man?
John, how's it going, my good friend? John from Texas.
Good.
We're on a collision course, buddy. If we get to the World Series, I'm gonna fucking buy your ass a ticket, and you're gonna come. We're gonna go to an LA game and the Dodger game, as long as I'm still doing well, which I think I will be doing. So
good.
You know,
good. I'm always pulling for you. You know that.
I know that. How you been, man?
Good. Listen, Mike. Let me ask you. I don't know if I can bring this up. So just let me know if I got to stop. So I just found out earlier today that Chris Moneymaker is coming to town.
Mm-hmm.
Here at a, I guess it's a card room, but there's a loophole that they get around.
Yeah,
because it's illegal.
They probably
Texas.
pay to come. You probably pay to go in the club, and they charge you
$10 an hour.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
So he's coming down for 5 days,
mm-hmm.
and the card room is advertising it.
Mm-hmm.
Play with Moneymaker. So my question is, do you think he charges to come down? Or?
Oh yeah. He ain't showing up there for free. I mean, a place like that, they're probably paying paying him like. Is there a tournament going on?
So?
Nah, probably 5. I don't think probably 5. I would say 5.
And probably pay for his buy-in.
Yeah, they might. It depends how big the tournament's there. If there's a bunch of tournaments, they might be just paying all his buy-ins for all the tournaments and room and a place to stay or whatever. Or they might have given him $5,000, but for sure they're buying all his tournaments and stuff. You know, he's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
There's like 2 card rooms in town, so they're trying to take business from each other. Yeah. So I don't know. The place that he's going to hasn't been doing all that well. So I was trying to figure out is how are they going to be able to pay him?
Well, that's why I said if they haven't been doing well, they might just be paying them for. Could be an underground mafia club where the card room is just a front. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I was just wondering because I've never heard of that before.
It's hard to get paid to go places now in the United States because, poker is Europe is anywhere but the U.S. Poker's got a poker boom like we had, so it hasn't. Unfortunately, I still believe one day it'll change out here, but we'll see what happens with online. There's a lot of things with now that they've legalized sports betting. I mean, the whole thing was they outlawed poker under the Gambling Wire Act or something like that. But now they've legalized sports betting. So I don't see why internet poker is not legalized out here. But I know there's a lot of people lining up to open sites that are going to be once it does become legal, so should be interesting. Anyway,
and I know they just started Omaha and some game called Congo.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I've heard somebody was talking about that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you should come over here and show these idiots how to play, man.
Yeah, my friend from Texas has been calling me lately. I'm supposed to call him tomorrow. I wonder if he wants me to come down or something. But I'll let you know if I do.
Cool.
Anyways, I got to go. I got some other call.
Okay.
John, good talking to you. Take care, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Same here. Take care. Later.
The Mouthpiece.
This is Sean fucking Deeb, and you're listening to The Mouthpiece.
a lot of people think, oh, you're so tight. They love 3-betting you and showing it and laughing at you because you make some big laydown. And they 3-bet me. They don't laugh at me like they do you because they love to needle you. But, they 3-bet because they know that me and you play kind of on the tight side. But what they don't realize is, so what? So we lay down the hand and we look for a situation, and before you know it, we've chipped up without risking a chip. And, well, I don't want to get into strategy.
And they're out.
And they're out.
Exactly. And it's true, that happens all the time. But, people even, it seems like, Mike, I will say this year, didn't seem like anybody wanted to mess with me and hold them. Mm-hmm. It's like they could tell. You know what I mean?
Same with me.
They could tell that I wasn't, and I was playing so tight, you didn't want to mess with me.
Same with me.
When you're sitting with a great player that's playing really tight, you don't want to mess with that player. No. You're like, wow, he's out of my way. You feel like he's out of your way anyway because he's playing so tight. Right. So why get involved with him and give him chips? So I actually saw people folding a lot to me this year, and I think
I found that same thing.
For me.
But because the reason why I found the same thing is my patience was there, and once I set an image and the image is put in stone, it then allows me to do so many different things. Now, when I say I won 5 hands at Showdown, they were 5 big hands. I mean, I picked up aces against kings and doubled up. Then on day 2, I raised, the guy re-raised small. I called with 2 8s. He had aces. I flop a set. I double up. My third win a Showdown, I raised in the hijack with 9-10 off. The big blind defended it with, and I came king, queen, jack, and I got paid on flop, turn, and river. That was number 3. Number 4 hand that I won at Showdown was really amazing because I had just lost a big pot. This guy to my right would raise my blind 100% of the time, raise the lady who was really weak, her big blind every single time, and I spent an hour and a half studying him, looking for weakness. This is such a funny story. I finally found the weakness, and he raises her blind, and I 3-bet to 72,000, and the lady in the big blind goes, I'm all in, 121. So I've got to call 45,000 more. It's on me, and I'm shaking my head, and I say out loud at the table, I go, well, I'm definitely calling. I'm like, I don't like it. I go, the worst part is I have to show this, because my image, I have my image that is so great. And I had 7-3 offsuit, and I finally pulled the trigger. I had to make sure I had the tell on him that I needed, and it took me an hour and a half to make sure I saw it. And once I saw it, the lady wakes up, and she only had ace jack. Of course, flop came jack jack. That
was the most surprising thing about the hand to me. Right. Is you're playing super, super, super tight. And the folks at home don't understand.
I had not 3-bet a hand the whole entire day.
Right. And so you finally 3-bet, which is the world's easiest fold for ace-jack. Mm-hmm. And yet all of a sudden all the chips are in.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, that's just really weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
So I explained that by she had some kind of read on you somehow because the story doesn't make sense otherwise.
Nah, she just had been we were playing let's see, I think it was 5 and 10,000. So she basically has like 12 blinds, and she just that's like the best hand she saw.
So what? It's re-raised to her. So what?
I know. She wasn't very good. That's why the guy kept raising her big blind. But
got it.
Right. So then I go out on break, and now I only got 525, and I go to Rami. I was telling him the story like I just told you, and Rami says, "Relax, Mike." He goes, "That's the greatest thing that could have ever happened to you." He goes, "Now when you 3-bet them, they're going to think about the 7-3 off, and they might lose their mind." I'm like, "Oh, I hope you're right." We then get back from the break. It was 20 minutes after the break, right? And I looked down. It was like the only playable hand I had. I think it was on day 3, which was 2 black queens. It was literally the only big pair I had all day. And everybody folds, and the guy goes, "Oh, let's see if we can raise Mike's blind again," right? And he raises it to 22,000, and I make it 70, the same 72 I made it when I had the 7-3 offsuit, and he just
people know that if they're listening at home that if I make it 73K with nothing and I pick up aces, I'm making it 73K.
Right.
And sometimes I don't want it to be quite obvious. I might make it 1,000 more or 1,000 less. But sometimes in the main event, I'll just make it the exact same amount because it sends a signal to their brain that he has 7-3 offsuit, whether they help it or not, you know.
And so the guy, after I 3-bet him to the same 73 or so whatever it was, just 4-bet jammed $500,000. I snapped calling me as 2 5s. So now that was number 4 hand that I won at Showdown, okay? And that's another massive pot. But then, and the 5th one I won was on day 5, and it happened right after the guy had doubled through me with 10s against my aces, and then and that was when I was in the big blind. And now I had like 400 left, and then I min-raise. I looked down, I got 2 kings on the button, so now I min-raise it to 50. I mean, how do they fall for the min-raise on the button with 400? with fucking, I had... 12 big blinds, and he just piled it in with 2 6s, and now I double back up. So he beat me out of 180. Then I beat him out of 400, and so now I was back to 800 when I started the day with 725. And well, I don't want to tell everything because they can look at my vlogs and see it all. But that's how it was. So I ended up actually winning 5 hands at Showdown in 5 days. They were big ones. But the rest of the way, I moved myself up. I moved myself up on day 5 from 800 to 1.8 million, and then lost the 2 million chip pot, which I talk about if you just go out to my YouTube channel and check out my main event vlog, and you can see all the hands went and all that. But that's how that went. But
by the way, Danny, this is my normal talk with Mike on the phone. He's been going for about 3 minutes straight. Mm-hmm. One time I talked to Mike, and I really decided that I was going to let him do all the talking. I was actually tired, and sometimes talking to Mike when you're tired is good. And he literally talked 90% of the call. I happened to measure it, but afterwards he said, I swear to God, you can't make this up. He said, that's the best talk we've ever had. He talked 90%.
Well, because you let me talk. You let me talk.
I picked up the phone and I called Cantu and I said, you're not going to believe what just happened. Because, and Cantu was just busted out laughing. And Cantu said one time I listened to Cantu he said he wasn't exaggerating. He said Mike went on for 18 minutes once, and Cantu, had the phone held away and occasionally pick it up and say, Mike, And I said, what's the purpose of talking to him if that's how bad it's going to get?
Yeah, so everybody
And by the way, Mike, and see, Mikey has such a good heart that sometimes he doesn't know. Like if you told Mike, you talked 80% of the time and you said exactly this later, he might be horrified. He might be like, oh, my God, I can't believe I did that. I'm so sorry, Phil. Because Mikey is a smart guy with a conscience, but until you actually inform him of that, then, But I was going to say this.
They don't call me Mike the Mouth for nothing.
Mike's 100% better. 100% better. Ever since... in the last few months, ever since the pain has gone away, he's 100% better.
And I tell people all the time, it's like, I've got a life back. Now, do I still have pain? Yeah, but I have a life. There's a difference between bedridden for 4 years and being able to actually go out, go places and do something. You know what I'm saying? So
I knew your mind was clear, Mike, because we play on the app together. We play on the Pineapple app. And that's the app I have a piece of, but everybody in the poker world plays it, everybody. And when you and I were playing on the app and you started crushing me, for hundreds of points and eventually 1,000 points. Now, we were playing $10 a point. You beat me for 10,000 on my own app, whatever. But I knew your mind was clear. And I'm like, wow, he's going to have a good series. Yeah. And sometimes it's just something small like that. You would call it a sign. He would call it a sign. I would say there's a lot of science behind the fact that suddenly he's beating me on the app. It means he's thinking more clearly.
Yeah, and the thing is and listen, I credit where credit's due. Like it's so easy to get down at the World Series. I was 4 for 15 after finishing cashing the first 2 events, and I'm just like, like I said, Sean D sees me in the hallway and says, Mike, it's not over. You still got the main event in stud 8. And I end up like 3 big cashes to end the series and end up with a great World Series. And it's the 3rd consecutive World Series. I've had a good World Series. And a lot of people aren't aware of it. Like even having 2 great World Series in a row the last 2 years, but I was in severe pain. Even so many people came up to me, and I think it was you, and maybe it was you, but it might have been somebody else. But they said, I'm real happy. I'm real happy for you, Mike. I'm really happy for you. And I go, why? They're like, forget poker. I'm like, I'm watching you move.
Yeah, I said that to you.
You're getting out of your chair. You're moving from table to table, talking with people like the old Mike, and you could just see that you're not in pain, and my head was clear, and I got rewarded for it, and thank God, and I didn't have to get rewarded for it. I could have ended up having a bad World Series. But I never gave up. And in the poker world, you
might have. You know what, Mike? I'll tell you what. Maybe you would have given up in a lot of years past. You would have given up after fanning 13 in a row or whatever.
Yeah.
You probably would have given up because there's juicy cash games at the Bellagio, and you can raise money and play. And there's juicy games at the Aria, and you can raise money and go play. And you can make money, and you want to make hay during the summer.
Right.
But so I think it was really smart of you to stay the course. And I know you were 1 card away from winning the stud 8 or better, and that would have been a beautiful bracelet.
Right. Yeah, and if you guys haven't seen, you can go to my YouTube /Mike the Mouth, and you can check out my stud 8 or better vlog and my main event vlog, and you'll see I was really close. I went. Listen, I had 2 million of the 9 million in chips in play, with 17 people to go, and then went 4.5 hours without dragging a chip. And I lost 2.4 million chip pot 4-handed, where I was 97% to get a minimum of half. So that was pretty much the tournament. And if I hold up a 97% or even just get half, I'm probably going to end up head up, or I'm definitely going to finish better than 4th. But you know what I said, and people who watch the video vlogs on it, I said, you know what? I'm playing great. I'm going to play my best. If it's meant for me to win, I'm going to win. If it's not meant for me to win, I'm not going to win. And that's kind of like a different approach than I've taken many a times, where you've heard me say many times, I know I'm going to win this tournament. I know I'm going to, and then I set myself up for a letdown. This time I didn't do that. I just said, I'm going to play my best.
That's a double-edged sword, because I've heard you literally, people wouldn't even believe it, but I've heard you literally at least 100 times per summer make a day 2 and you say, I have a good feeling, I have a good feeling. Yeah. You're always saying, I have a good feeling, I have a good feeling. I'm going to win this, Phil. I have a a good feeling.
Well, you got to stay positive. You taught me that. You got to stay positive. So that's a lot of that.
But I'm not sure that's a bad thing.
Right.
I'm not sure that's a bad thing, because, you're setting yourself up where you're with a lot of positive energy versus a lot of other ways it could go.
Back in the day, I've told this story many times. I used to have dreams when I was going to win a tournament, and I'd win them. Or when I was, just like I had the dream when Scotty won the main event, and I staked him in it.
There are tournaments that afterwards, my wife and I look at each other and say, wait a minute, we both thought you were going to win that. I'm like, God, I was so convinced I was going to win that. And she's like, yeah, I can't believe it. What happened? And then occasionally it's gone the other, like last year in the Turbo. I was a little short on the, we were down to 3-handed, and I remember I never stall a clock in my life,
right.
But I just thought, man, I got to get to dinner break. Right. You know what I mean? And so I stalled an extra minute or whatever right before just to make the dinner break, and then we came back, and I didn't necessarily think I was going to win that one. I just knew that I was going to play great, and I knew that one of the other guys had been very crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But, I caught a break there. The very first hand back from the dinner break, before I even sat down, 2 guys intercepted me, and they said, we've looked at the numbers to make a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're sitting on 4 million and 3 million, and I have, 4.5 million and 4 million, and I have 1.5, and the numbers looked horrible.
Right.
I was like, wow, I can't even lock up second place. And so, but I was, and so we didn't make a deal. And so then all that stalling and delaying while the live stream's waiting, and we sit down in the very first hand, I have ace-5, I have 10 bigs or 9 bigs or something. I'm like, well, I got to go with this. I'm all in. The guy in the small blind has kings, and it comes an ace and a 5. And I win that pot, and all of a sudden it's 3 million to 3 million to 4.5, and and people are like, well, you got lucky there, Phil. And I did get lucky that hand. But what they don't realize is that I had $3 or $4 million, and I slowly anteed it off. I never couldn't pick up anything.
It's like Mike Wattell told me when I got lucky in a big pot during the summer. He goes, "What? You're not allowed to get lucky?" Because it's like you and me, whatever. Most of the time we get it with the best.
It's interesting. It's like if you're in a tournament and you lose, if you have $3 million, say you had $3 million. And you lose $1.5 million over 2 hours, hour and a half. Everybody else is going crazy. You never win a pot. Then people don't understand that. You were pretty unlucky for an hour and a half. And so maybe I was supposed to win that pot, but whatever. I think the other way sometimes too on that. But I'll just say that that one I didn't necessarily see coming, and then the ace-5 holds up. And the other guy's just moving in every hand. And I'm just like, what is going on here? And finally he's out, and now we're heads up. Well, and the other guy said, I need a break. Mm-hmm. And so I said, whatever, sure, no problem. He said, can we take a 10-minute break? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I don't care. I mean, I'm going to be polite. I don't care. And so, I go outside, get some sun. I come back, and he intercepts me at the door. I go through the back hallways, and he intercepts me at the back hallway door. He's like, I've worked out the numbers for a deal. This is what it looks like. And I'm like, is it ICM? He said, yes. And I took a look, and I thought, wow, he has me 2-1 in chips. He's giving up a bunch of money, and I can still win a bunch more if I win it. So we made a save, not a deal.
Right.
We're still playing for like 70,000 or something. And I still wasn't necessarily thinking I was going to win because it's just fast. It's a 30-minute. You don't have enough time to think that,
Right.
And he and I just fought for hours for those 30-minute blinds, bro.
Well, I know one thing. Me and you were both very deep this year in the same tournament, and I had back in the days used to play a lot of turbo sit and goes and stuff, and I honestly cannot believe how bad people play turbos. They're playing GTO ICM in a turbo. Like, I have 12 bigs, I have to move in. I have 14 bigs, I got to move in. They don't understand that. Well, I don't want to teach them. Never mind. But you know what I'm talking.
On that path, Mike.
Yeah.
I'll just say this: in the turbos, they've had this turbo I think 4 years. Mm-hmm. And I think I have a 9th, a 6th, and a 1st. Yeah. And it's funny because last year they said, well, Phil's weakest tournament is a turbo. It's all math.
Yeah, it's all math.
They said that.
It's everything. It's not math.
Turbo. It's all math.
That's the thing. The thing is I don't want to give it away because I just want to. I will never miss a turbo again because I can't believe how. I don't even want to say it. People just don't know how to play turbos. Even I think it was Kristen.
Mike, it's not just turbos. I mean, the world has been trained to play no limit hold'em the wrong way. So, 5 years ago, when I said the world's been trained to play no limit hold'em the wrong way, everybody laughed at me. I had 99% of the young players laughing at me. This was 5 years ago, and then Sean Deeb said, "Phil, you're right." He's the first one. This was 5 years ago. Phil, you're right. I'm using your style. And Sean just started winning everything, going deep all the time.
I can name two people that don't.
And right now, to this point, if I tell them how bad their short stack strategy is, they're still 60 or 70%. They've all been trained that I'm somehow crazy.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to me. They've been trained that Phil Hellmuth is crazy. I just keep winning and winning. I keep going deep and deep and deep. But yet I'm the crazy one.
Well, in the closer,
it's very interesting, Mike. When one person thinks one way is right, and the whole world thinks the other way is right, and that's when the most enormous opportunity shows up in society. It's that one guy that knows the stock is going this way, not that way. Mm-hmm. He's going to make a lot of money, and if he can do it again and again, that's where it's important.
Well, I just know this. I think GTO ICM is great for people that have no talent. If you play like that, you'll be a winning player. But if you read people and you know, I just think that, I mean, like Bren Kenny, I could say he's one of the top 5 all around players, and he plays every game good too. He said, they asked him, "Do you play GTO?" He goes, "No, I just play my style." You know, so you know, I just think that Daniel's bought way too into the math and these combos and this blocks this and this blocks that, and I think you're just way overthinking the game. Like Berkey thinks just like that. Everything math, whatever. And I heard Berkey say when we were playing Poker After Dark a couple weeks ago.
Mike, listen, you have to understand something. Mm-hmm. You and I are not arguing against math.
No, not at all.
We're not arguing against math. Here's the thing. We think their math is wrong. So because I make fun of some people, they listen to us and they say, Phil is against math. I'm not against math. My whole life is based on math. My whole life is based on math. But I think their math is wrong. Right. So that's the difference. So sometimes it's set up as Phil Hellmuth with reads versus against everybody else with math. Mm-hmm. And that's completely wrong. You know, you're someone that reads. Daniel's someone that reads. Yeah. And so but so I just think their math has been wrong and continues to be wrong. And you know, and we've been lucky. We've been lucky that this is happening for so long. And as people adjust and get better, then we can adjust. Right. So once they start doing things more mathematically correct, mm-hmm. then we can adjust to that, right?
Yeah, I've gone over and I've talked to Jonathan Little. He teaches really good for if you're playing online. I mean, because online is math because you can't see them, so you need to know the math, and that's why probably I never won online and I always crushed it live. But I'm not going to say anything, no matter what anybody tells me. I know that the way me and you think is the right way. And until I stop winning in No Limit Hold'em or getting close or being there, maybe then I'll think maybe it's not. But until then, I believe our way is the right way.
It's interesting. I think people that are listening to the broadcast understand what we're saying without even having to spell it out. So now you and Cantu and I are going to have to sit down, and we're going to have to figure out. I've been really lucky at over-unders in the NFL.
Right.
Okay, we call it NFL futures. It's called.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about that next week, actually.
You look at those teams, and it's very interesting to me, you know, to see the numbers they have on board. Now, this is another one where I have a perception, you have a perception, and Cantu has a perception. And so, if one of us happens to be really good at seeing reality, then we're going to be very good at this. Right. You know, I think that it's almost impossible to predict who's going to win in any given matchup in the NFL. I think that's so hard. Injuries
make a big difference too. So that's the thing.
Yes. So it's really hard to go week to week. But if you're looking at totals, I think there's real value in there. I'll never forget the first year that I bet $10,000 on a total. Right. Was the Denver Broncos got Peyton Manning. Mm-hmm. And they had won 8 games the year before with who was their quarterback?
Well, yeah, I don't know, but I remember they were worried about Peyton Manning's shoulder because he had the weakness in his shoulder, so they didn't know if he was going to be good again. That was the thing, and he was great.
And so the line, their number, but they had won 8 games or 7 games with Tebow the year before.
Right.
And so I was thinking Peyton Manning's one of the best of all time. No disrespect to Tim Tebow, but. You know, and so I thought to myself, what an opportunity. So there it was, Denver laying on the board at 8.5, plus $1.50, Mikey, plus $1.50. So I put my $10,000 down, the biggest sports bet of my life, because I'm not a huge sports bettor. Right. And by the way, the Denver did not start out great that year. They made a miracle comeback against the San Diego Chargers in like week 5 to not be 2-3 or something like that.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they just started winning, and by the end of the year, of course, they were, I think, 11-5, and that was an easy one. But all I needed was Peyton Manning to be healthy, and not even the first week. I just needed him to be healthy by week 5 because they already had that star team. Well, and so so that's what we have to look for.
I'm going to be talking. I'm going to be talking a lot of sports going next 3 weeks.
What do you think of the Chicago Bears, Mike? I see them at 9.5.
I thought they were 9. You said the other day.
Yeah, I looked again. I think they're 9.5.
Yeah, I think the over is the right play there. The more I think about it,
the over, that might be my pick of the year. Today I was tweeting a little bit about sports betting. That might be my pick of the year. I'm going to have to see if it's 9 or 9.5.
I'm going to be going over.
I was talking to Joe Lake at the dinner tonight, and I said it looks like the NBA is going to support sports betting, and he said it looks that way. He wouldn't tell me, but we all know that Adam Silver's pushing for sports betting. And I said, did you know the Warriors are 14-1 to win the championship?
Yeah, I want to tell you about that. They're no longer 14-1. They're 10-1 today.
Well, I saw them at 11-1 yesterday. Yeah,
they're 10-1 today. And there was a big interview on ESPN about Klay Thompson was like, everybody thinks our dynasty's over. He goes, they got to. He goes, well, and they're playing. They're coming with a chip on their shoulder next year. And you know what? I still think
Steph Curry.
What's that?
Curry did this big interview, and he's like, "No one respects us."
No, their fucking over under is 49. Their over under is 49. Are you kidding me?
I mean, with the talent they have, you have to understand that these guys have also been able to make some genius trades along the way. You have to give them credit. And now all of a sudden, there's a lot of pressure on them. Yeah. But they still have Steph, and they still have Klay. They actually, I think you said it, they still have 4 All-Stars.
Yeah, they have 4 All-Stars.
My boy.
No other team has 4 All-Stars. That's the bottom line. You could look at the Lakers, the Clippers, fucking Houston. You could look at any team in the NBA. No team has more than 2 All-Stars, and they're bringing in 4 still. So anybody?
So I see 11-1 on my little sports book where I bet online with people, and I'm going to fire that right now after we're done talking because when your podcast goes public, we may or may not have a little bit of influence on what happens. I mean, we're being reasonable, and we're saying that hey, no other team has 4 All-Stars. Right. Why are they 11-1 to win? And so that's reasonable. That's
Well, I'm going to be talking a lot of sports air in the next 3 weeks, and I'm gonna actually record a few podcasts because I will be in LA with you starting the 23rd through September 5th. Me and Phil will be at the Bike. We are going to be playing live at the Bike cash game a couple days of quarter 50, and then we're doing an what's it called, meet and greet 5-5 game,
meet up poker game. Right. That's going to be Sunday, the 25th of August.
Well, Phil, my good friend, it's been an honor having another great interview with you, and I'm looking forward to spending a lot of time with you over the next month. Hopefully we'll kick some ass, and I appreciate you coming on the Mouthpiece podcast. It means a lot to me, and I wish you success here in the future. Thank you, Phil.
Talk to you, Mikey.
You got it, buddy. Take care.
The Mouthpiece.
I hope you enjoyed episode 15 of The Mouthpiece. Stay tuned next week for episode 16. We have a special guest next week on The Mouthpiece. Have a great weekend, everyone.
The Mouthpiece.